Hi guys, Gus69 from Metal Mind Brazil. On this video I'm responding the 20 questions from the Metal Vinyl Tag 2025 put out by Heavy Metallurgy channel. If you don't speak Portuguese, please check this out. I've been following Dream Theater career actually since their second studio album, Images and Words, the first one with their singer James Labrie, and for about 20 years I kinda got into them, and this one was the last one that I bought from them, A Dramatic Turn of Events from 2011, which marked the debut of the new drummer Mike Mangini. He is excellent, but he is not Mike Portnoy. So after four studio albums, I think, Mike Portnoy is back in the band. He was one of the former members of the band, and his signature for not just for the band but for the whole progressive metal generation is undeniable. So I'm pretty much anticipating the new album Parasomnia, which is gonna be released next February. I hope they don't disappoint me. Dream Theater. So this is my vinyl collection, old records from the 60s, 70s, mostly from the 80s and some from the 90s. And in the other side of the room I have 4 cubicles with new pressings from the 2000s, and I picked this one from the cubicle of the new albums that I bought last year, including reissues, and this is one of them, the 25th album in the alphabetical order for this section. So Defenders of the Faith, Judas Priest, don't need to say anything about this, but I will say something. This is the only album that I'm showing on this tag that I also showed on the official vinyl community tag 2025. If you missed that one, you can watch on my other channel in English, Gus69. So the question was different though. It was the album that I'm never tired of. Giant Squid, doom rock metal band from San Francisco, originally formed in 2002. I think they moved to Texas later on. They only released 4 studio albums. This is the last one, Mean Ones, from 2014. Very surprising sounding, especially about the themes, the fantasy and historical themes that they explore, and also because of their progressive leanings. When it comes to brand new vinyl records like international release, I tend to buy from Amazon, the Brazilian web store. When it comes to second-hand vinyl records, I go in local thrift stores here in São Paulo. When it comes to brand new CDs, I tend to buy directly with the bands or some online stores, but I have to look for the best price. And when it comes to second-hand CDs, mostly I got the better prices from online platforms such as Shopee, OLX, Mercado Livre and Enjoy. So if you know King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, you know that it's almost impossible to define their style because they touch everything pretty much. They started as a garage rock, acid rock, psychedelic rock band, and then they started moving to progressive territories, and later on also in heavy metal. And this one, Infest the Rat's Nest, is the one that made into the metal archives. They allowed them to be there because of this album. So on this one they mixed like thrash metal with doom metal, but very raw. So we put in a blender Motorhead, Voivod and Metallica, and you get King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, especially on this album. But they have a couple more albums very heavy as well. What are the odds to see an album cover like this and think for yourself, this should be a heavy album, let's buy it, especially with Frazetta artwork. So this is Molly Hatchet. I don't recall if was this particular one that I bought, but I remember buying one of their albums and disliking very much because it lacks heaviness on their guitar. So this is more like Southern rock, and that I pretty much appreciate it nowadays. But back in the 80s I didn't like. This is supposed to sound like Manowar, but it didn't. But nowadays I do enjoy some Southern rock, and Molly Hatchet, it's quite good, beating the odds.
In a horrific time, in a horrible world, I have been asked to try and horrify you.
Last year, while I was doing the 366 Skull project, I came across of this album and I had to buy it just for the cover. And this is not even music. It's just a guy telling stories, horror stories. Arch Oboler, Drop Dead. So I got both of these Halloween albums, Keeper of the Seven Keys, Part 1 and Part 2, back in the early 90s when I was living in Portugal. So they are from 87 and 88. And 3 years ago I got the remastered expanded editions of these two, also from Europe. The part 1 with a bonus disc with 5 bonus tracks, and the part 2 it's only 1 disc but it has also 5 bonus tracks. So I got these from a contest held by Classiloni and Rick from the Dreadful Minutes channel, and a shout out to them. So I decided to keep both editions, the OG from Germany and the expanded editions also from Europe. Metal Church self-titled album, one of my favorites from the 80s. I finally managed to get back to my collection last year, originally from 84 but released in Brazil in 86. And I also got the 86 second studio album by Metal Church, The Dark, released here in Brazil in 88. So both Brazilian versions. I had both in the 80s and now I got them back in my collection last year for a really good price both. I really need some loudness in my collection. This Japanese band that I discovered in the mid-80s and loved ever since, I have none in my collection. Can you believe it? 34 studio albums released. Big giant discography. A friend of mine bought a box set with 11 CDs and 2 DVDs that I'm particularly interested in. That covers the from 81 to 85 all the albums they released for Columbia, Japan. So besides the studio albums, albums in English, live albums, and also solo album by their singer Minoru Mihara, and one solo album by their drummer Munetaka Iguchi, rest in peace. So I really need some loudness, especially the early days, the 80s. I need something. So this one everybody knows, Back in Black by AC/DC, one of the most selling albums of all time. I used to have that on vinyl, Brazilian edition, back in the day. So everybody knows in the 90s I sold my collection. But when I got back to Brazil in 2010, I restarted collecting vinyl. I continue collecting CDs, of course, and I got all the AC/DC reissues on Digipack. Very nice editions. I don't mind Digipacks. Very good stuff. And I was satisfied with this one. But then, when I was trying to sell my drum parts, my cymbals, one of the guys that was interested in buying all my cymbals, he was asking for a discount, and we made a deal. He gave me his CD and vinyl collection. I got a very beat up copy, Brazilian edition, as I used to have back in the day, on vinyl and also on CD. But this one is made in Germany, so European version of Back in Black. And a few months later, a friend of mine was getting rid of his CD collection, and guess what? In the middle of the CDs, Back in Black. This time this is a US version. So now I have not one, not two, not three, but 4 Back in Black on my collection. My reconnection with this thrash metal band from the 80s started in 2023 when I got to see them live here in São Paulo, Brazil. I'm talking about Whiplash, and this album I got an OG copy, Brazilian pressing, Ticket to Mayhem. I got last year. I always wanted these on my collection, and my reconnection didn't stop there. I also got their latest full length, but it's from 2009, Unborn Again. Tony Portaro is still delivering the goods. Whiplash. If you like death, doom, gothic and progressive elements, check it out, the debut album by Deep Memories, a one-man project featuring Douglas Martins. He's from my home state, São Paulo, and this is their debut album called Rebuilding the Future. Very surprising album that I got last year, and I also got his second full length. This one's called Why Do We Suffer? Discover Listening Deep Memories. So many years ago, I found out about the vinyl community through a documentary featuring Scott Waters. So he was probably one of the first ones that I started watching, and that made me aware of a vinyl community. And he also made me aware about this band, Moxie, Canadian rock band from the 70s. But this actual album I got last year from another VC member, Logan, from Broken Records channel. He was auctioning some records, and I bought a few of them, and he surprised me with this one. Never heard and never had, and now I do. So this one is Hiding High from 77, Moxie. Every now and then I do blind buys. I don't mind new or different music styles that I'm not familiar with. And I did get this album by Impure Wilhelmina, a post-metal band from Switzerland. I didn't know anything about this band, but I found they're pretty good. The problem is most of the post-metal bands, the artwork or it's abstract or doesn't make much sense, or I know that they're trying to portray the feeling of the album in the artwork, but on this one, I don't know, a blurred image of someone in front of a rocky mountain. I don't get it. So for this one I decided to go with Michael Whelan from US. He's best known by his work used on Meatloaf album covers, but also for many comics, especially for Michael Moorcock, with this character here, Elric de Meoni Bonnet. So this is Sritango, of course, with their latest EP, Half Past Human, from 2021. And I decided to show Sritango because I think all their albums use artwork by Michael Whelan. Check it out. So an album that I'm missing on my collection is the debut album by Ibria, Define the Rules. It was released in 2004 and he issued only in Japan, where they are very popular, in 2014, so for the 10th anniversary of the album. So I do have their second studio album, The School Collector. I have their third studio album, Blind Ride. I have their fourth studio album, Silent Revenge. And I have the fifth studio album, self-titled Ibria. They have two more studio albums, but those are kind of not difficult to buy. But the debut album, it's very expensive if you can find here in Brazil. So I'm looking forward for a reissued on CD because I have all on CD, so it makes sense to have that one also in this format. This is a genre that I don't listen to very often, but I decided to pick Ministry to represent industrial metal. This is Psalm 69, The Way to Succeed, or The Way to Suck Eggs, as they used to call this album. I saw once they live in 1999. Al Jurgensen is pretty cool on stage, but I really don't listen to this kind of music very often. I do have something like Rammstein, Skrill, some others band, Nine Inch Nails a little bit, but this is a classic industrial metal and I had to have on my collection.
I have seen you on the edge of dawn, felt you here.
I didn't attend any shows last year, but I'm looking forward to catch any of these bands that are gonna be playing here in Brazil this year. Sabotage, City Tango, Pentagram, Saxon, Madball, and Lepros. My shoutouts goes to Bobby Gaylor, amazing channel, great discovery, very knowledgeable, very well spoken, really enjoy his videos, and he is engaging with the community, which is amazing. The second shout out goes to Tokyo Vinyl, a guy that I discovered last year. He covers a lot the Japanese scene. He plays the records that he's talking about, so I enjoy very much his channel, Tokyo Vinyl. I will leave the links for those channels here in the descriptions, okay? Check it out. So that's it, my answers to the 20 questions from the Metal Tag 2025 put out by Marty and Allan from the Heavy Metallurgy channel. I strongly advise you to check them out. I always popping on those live streams that they do, pretty cool, amazing guests. I also want to thank everyone that watched this video. If you enjoyed, please give me a thumbs up, leave a comment if you can, commenting anything about this video. I would love to get in touch with you because 90% of my viewers on this channel don't speak Portuguese. So that's why I decided to do this metal tag in English. I already did another metal tag, a Brazilian one, on my previous video, and I also did the official vinyl tag in English on my other channel, Gus69, but I needed to talk with you, my viewers that don't speak Portuguese, and that's why I decided to do the metal tag, the official one, the worldwide international tag. So I'm pretty glad that you watched this video. Leave my comments, stay in touch, and see you next time.